In the year 2367, the human race found itself standing at the threshold of extraordinary progress. An alliance of visionaries, scientists, and explorers had spent decades searching for a method to transcend the vast distances of space. Warp drives, slipstream tunnels, and quantum entanglement transmitters offered incremental improvements in exchanging messages. But these technologies still introduced time lags of hours, days, or even weeks. Colonists on remote planets often found themselves dangerously disconnected, left to guess the next move of cosmic storms or hostile alien fleets. And so, in hidden labs orbiting Ganymede, and deep within the Martian catacombs, engineers and physicists pursued what was once deemed impossible: perfect instantaneous communication, detectable across the entire galaxy. Dr. Miranda Royce was a formidable leader of these efforts, a renowned quantum physicist whose breakthroughs in non-local entanglement had redefined the boundaries of possibility. Years earlier, she had proven that a particular class of paired particles could not only be entangled, but also stabilized in such a manner that distance between them ceased to matter. This phenomenon, widely laughed off by many conventional thinkers, became known as infinite lattice coupling. In the beginning, even Royce herself doubted that her theoretical extensions could lead to a practical device. Yet she pushed onward, developing prototypes so delicate they had to be assembled in gravitational fields precisely calibrated to 1/10,000th of Earth's standard. Rumors circulated of entire labs ripping apart in microsecond quantum implosions, disappearing with a silent flash of purple light when the device malfunctioned. Despite all the danger and sacrifice, a faint beacon of hope burned brighter with each experiment. In these desperate times, Earth political leaders allocated massive resources to Royce's research group. Rival powers worried about the rumored instant link, an invention that would undermine centuries of carefully established protocols about faster-than-light messaging. Right now, an interplanetary hegemon could track battles or negotiations in near real time, but still not quickly enough to avoid the common pitfalls of miscommunication. Governments, corporations, and rogue outfits alike recognized that whoever mastered genuine instantaneous communication would hold a galactic trump card. But the moment that enormous energy was poured into the Infinite Lattice project, attention from across the cosmos grew more menacing. Alien alliances, always cautious of humankind's steady growth, spied on Earth's labs, sending infiltration teams to sabotage progress. Then came cryptic warnings from traitors at the outer colonies. Beware the Watchers. Some secrets are not to be discovered by any mortal race. Against this tense backdrop, the first major revelation arrived in Dr. Royce's personal lab on Ganymede. Late one evening, she coaxed a prototype array of entangled crystals to remain stable for nearly an hour. Her graduate assistant, Miko Chen, noticed that the device emitted a harmonic resonance that flickered between the ultraviolet and X-ray wavelengths. This phenomenon was unprecedented. Never had an arrangement of untangled matter revealed such a visually detectable and sustained effect. When Dr. Royce introduced a tiny fluctuation in the lattice's phase state, a corresponding wavefront manifested in the sister lattice millions of kilometers away. The result was instant reactivity. They exchanged rudimentary signals, just short pulses of on-off patterns. It was enough to know they had done it. The basis for instantaneous messaging existed, even if it was only a feeble flicker of light at that stage. Soon, both state partians and black market players doubled their espionage efforts. Bounty hunters and corporate saboteurs roamed the corridors of Ganymede's labs, posing as custodians and low-level researchers. Royce and her team found themselves under siege by all manner of clandestine pursuits. Even more ominous was the presence of the Linari, a cloaked infiltration team from an advanced civilization rumored to guard cosmic secrets. Several times, security cameras captured images of slender forms clad in black pressed against the walls, heads turning nervously, luminous eyes shining in the dim safety lights. Miko Chen nearly caught one tampering with a power junction. The intruder vanished into a ventilation shaft, leaving no sign except a faint whiff of sulfur in the air. These alien thieves were fixated on obtaining or destroying the blueprint of humankind's latest audacity. To protect the technology, the Earth Council ordered Dr. Royce's entire operation relocated to a top security station near Jupiter's Trojan asteroid fields. Codenamed Aegis Node, the station was heavily armed and shrouded in detection scramblers. Access gates were sealed, and unregistered vessels found themselves obliterated by a ring of orbital defense satellites. Yet even this fortress-like facility could not stop the relentless infiltration. The Lunari were as cunning as they were determined, and they were not alone. Human mercenary groups, swayed by colossal bribes, tried to slip in discreetly with stolen credentials. It became a standoff of clandestine moves and counter-moves, with Dr. Royce's instant communication device at the heart of the conflict. Her research facility buzzed around the clock with tension and anticipation. Amidst these external pressures, the internal challenges never ceased. One evening, while Dr. Royce fine-tuned the resonance drives of the entangled lattice, her entire workstation flickered, throwing sparks in every direction. The lattice rose into mid-air, glowing purple. An ear-splitting hum reverberated through the lab. Miko and the other scientists scrambled to contain it, to manage power surges that threatened to tear open micro-singularities. Royce wrestled with the control systems, overriding meltdown procedures. With trembling hands, she slid the capacitors into alignment. In a brilliant flash, the lattice stabilized, and the terrifying hum subsided. Frantic alarms rang out across the station, but they had done it, secured the world's first stable instant transmitter core without a meltdown. It was, at once, humbling and exhilarating to realize how easily the frontier of science could slip into uncontrollable forces. Now that the device could be stabilized, the next step involved ensuring that signals could be transmitted and decoded without error. A special coding system had to be introduced, a pattern of quantum states strung into a new language known as emboss code. This code was so resilient that it could self-repair from partial decay in the entangled crystals. Dr. Royce's group spent sleepless nights verifying these patterns. Miko wrote the algorithms that would parse the signals, check for interference, and automatically correct for cosmic radiation disruptions. They tested sending sentences from one lab module to another, a mere 100 meters apart, but relying solely on entangled transmitters that linked crystals separated by a vast theoretical gulf. The sentences arrived in perfect clarity, repeated again and again, showing no delay. Mere seconds after sending the first messages, the entire team realized they had stepped across a threshold that none had truly believed possible. They had achieved immediate communication. The new design was christened the Instant Reach System, but unveiling Instant Reach to the rest of civilization brought new dilemmas. Corporate interests clamored for priority deals. Exclusivity meant unimaginable profit. The Earth Council demanded that the system be militarized first to secure the human colonies. Royce herself insisted that the technology belonged to research, diplomacy, and peaceful expansion. Many representatives acquiesced to her pleas, at least in public, but behind closed doors, admirals demanded deployment onto frontier warships immediately. With the instant link, fleets could coordinate jumps, direct crossfire, and retreat in remarkable unison. It was a power that any navy would crave. Fearful that humankind stood on the edge of becoming another despotic galactic empire, or a target for others, Dr. Royce approached the negotiations with trepidation. She set forth an ultimatum. Any usage of instant reach had to be accompanied by a universal code of conduct. Guided by international oversight, she would not see her life's work twisted solely into a weapon. Complicating matters further was the intangible sense of cosmic taboo. Spiritual soothsayers from the desert planet Yoshimi prophesied doom for any species that pressed so greedily into the cosmos. First you conquer space, next you conquer time, and then you dare to conquer the inexorable realm of no distance, they said. The mournful warnings of the Yoshimi mystics unsettled many across the galaxy, evoking an ancient memory of ruined civilizations that had once tried something similar and disappeared. Royce dismissed these claims, but the seeds of caution took root in her mind. Logically, it made sense that harnessing ephemeral entangled states on such a broad scale could trigger phenomena they did not yet grasp. For instance, the device had begun generating fleeting subspace echoes that nobody could explain. Strange flickers and vibrations rippled across the station's sensors, possibly indicating higher dimensional fields tugging at the boundaries of their reality. If such anomalies grew unchecked, the ramifications could be dire. Meanwhile, the Lunari remained closer than anyone realized. On a silent night when the corridors were lit only by the green glow of the emergency lamps, an alien infiltration squad executed a nearly flawless incursion. Emerging through the ventilation system, they forged a path toward the station's central quantum array chamber. The assassins subdued or bypassed guards with ultrasonic weapons. They reached the heart of the lab and stealthily hacked into the main console. Just as they began downloading critical design codes, Dr. Royce and Miko appeared at the other end of the corridor. A tense standoff ensued. One Lunari, tall and robed in black, brandished a translucent blade. Without warning, Miko lunged for the console. A blinding strike of electricity sizzled across the room. The Lunari, startled, lost their upper hand. Security reinforcements arrived. In those frantic moments, blasts of phaser fire crackled. The infiltration team scattered, leaving behind only a partially corrupted data shard and the faint trace of their footprints in a dusting of insulation powder. Most of the station's secrets remained protected, though Royce could see how precarious their position was. One mistake could throw open the door to chaos. Yet universal chaos arrived even sooner than feared. Unknown to the lab, an alien confederation had assembled around the outer colonies, an alliance of forces suspicious of Earth's rising power. One of their agents had reported that the humans were mere days away from unveiling a stable, large-scale instant-reach network. Panicked by rumors, these allied fleets launched an assault on the orbital zones near Jupiter, intending to destroy the station before it was fully operational. Warships loomed in formation, their silhouettes blotting out the stars, bristling with plasmic turrets and antimatter torpedoes. Within the station, confusion reigned. Many scientists believed the assault to be a rumor, but long-range scanners lit up with red swarms of inbound fighters. Earth's defense grid sounded the highest alert. Dr. Royce tightened her lips and made a decision. If the station was about to be attacked, she would complete their final test immediately, bridging the entire human network in a single coordinated pulse. They would bring online the full potential of instant reach before it could be destroyed. The upgrade sequence began, forging a lattice-based quantum link that encompassed the station and every key nerve center of human civilization. From the Californian Parliament on Earth to the Deimos Naval Yard to the outer colonies on Proxima Centauri. With sweaty fingers, Miko executed the final codes. A quiet hush fell across the labs as the transmitter array spun up, bathing the room in a shimmering vertical wave. The resonance peaked, and in a burst of clarity, all corners of the human domain came into instantaneous contact. The monitor screens displayed real-time feeds from outposts and cruisers once days apart. Fuel levels, supply logs, and incoming voice transmissions arrived with zero delay. Out beyond Jupiter, the attacking coalition moved in. However, Earth's defenders, suddenly aware of every motion of the alien fleets, changed formation at once. They adapted positions, guided by a unified eyes-in-the-sky vantage. Instant vantage. The Earth ships weaved around the attacker's approach, laying a defensive trap. Surprise battered the coalition forces, who found themselves uncoordinated, hampered by slower-than-light transmissions. Within minutes, Earth's fighters and cruisers struck back. Under the direction of an admiral who saw exactly where to focus, the defenders decimated the invaders' forward lines, forcing a retreat. For the first time in galactic history, a defensive formation had moved as one mind, reacting immediately to every shift. Whatever illusions of a swift victory the attackers had entertained were now shattered. Their battered warships jumped away, leaving behind cratered debris fields drifting slowly near Jupiter. Over open channels, a universal hush followed, No one doubted that humankind had achieved a watershed. News of Earth's triumph echoed across star systems. Every alien empire, from the proud Emrathan monarchy to the fiercely independent Shishan enclaves, realized the humans had grown suddenly formidable. The ability to communicate instantly across thousands of light years changed the strategic balance. Nations whispered about forging new alliances or forging new hostilities. But it was not only about war. Within days, frontier outposts that had languished in dangerous isolation lay connected to the heart of Earth's infrastructure. Vital medical breakthroughs, political directives, and real-time resource management soared across the instant reach network. Entire economies were galvanized. Some spoke of a golden age. Others braced for an era of paranoid espionage. Through it all, Dr. Royce remained resolute, working tirelessly to ensure that the technology would serve humankind's better nature, if such a nature could be maintained. In the following weeks, embassies and delegates flocked to Earth, all eager or desperate to learn more. Diplomats weighed deals to license the technology, offering precious metals, uncharted slipstream routes, or medical wonders in return for partial access to the instant reach relays. But the Earth Council, better prepared after the Jupiter onslaught, acted cautiously. They enforced binding conditions crafted largely by Royce and her team. Partitioning sections of the lattice, they could allow monitored usage by allied powers while maintaining a failsafe to shut down any subnetwork if it turned to destructive ends. The result was that Earth found itself at the helm of a new communications order, quickly overshadowing even the most advanced technologies from rival civilizations. Human enclaves, once overshadowed by older species, now possessed an undeniable advantage in forging treaties, steering trade routes, and repelling invasions. Despite the success and relative peace emerging in the aftermath, there was still the unsettling question of repercussions from meddling with quantum states beyond normal comprehension. During each lattice expansion, subspace echoes increased in intensity, manifesting as swirling auroras in the vacuum of space or pulses that messed with navigational arrays. One day, the entire Aegis node station flickered, as if reality blinked for a fraction of a second. Scientists scrambled, verifying that the station's position had not changed. Yet a few star charts showed small discrepancies. Certain constellations seemed marginally shifted, as if entire star systems had moved in the cosmic background. The phenomenon was subtle but alarming, an omen that weaving the entangled lattice throughout the galaxy was exerting some new strain on universal constant. During an emergency conference, Dr. Royce and the Earth Council weighed the risks. Miko presented evidence that instant reach could be saturating higher dimensional membranes with feedback. If these membranes grew too unstable, entire regions of space might slip or distort. This carried the horrifying prospect that the entire galaxy could be subjected to unstoppable gravitational anomalies, or that the technology might open a pathway to unknown cosmic threat. Yet the alternative was to maintain an advantage Earth had never enjoyed before. Halting the project in the name of caution would cede ground to newly emboldened rivals, and the memory of the Jupiter assault still weighed heavily. Some argued for a measured approach, restricting the network to only crucial nodes. Others believed the risk overblown, certain the anomalies would subside once the lattice stabilized. In the end, a compromise was reached. They would limit expansions temporarily while funneling resources into deeper research of the side effects. For the moment, the unstoppable march of progress decelerated, but did not reverse. This new era, precariously poised on the edge of cosmic revelation, saw humankind forging stronger bonds with alien species as well. Ambassadors arrived, not merely to vie for better terms of network access, but to share knowledge of ancient resonances they had encountered in their own histories. Some recounted half-legendary tales of precursor races that had toyed with instantaneous communication on a universal scale before vanishing. With the Leonari, a fragile truce emerged. They admitted their infiltration attempts were not solely about theft. They feared the humans might unwittingly unleash an existential threat upon all life in the galaxy. Indeed, Linari records contained half-deciphered warnings etched in the remains of a planet far in the galactic core, describing a shimmering void that awakened wherever entanglement was exploited carelessly. Though mutual mistrust lingered, some Linari scholars collaborated secretly with Miko and Dr. Royce, offering partial instructions to seal any emerging subspace rifts. All the while, the everyday hum of progress continued. Colonists on remote outposts no longer felt condemned to indefinite loneliness. Planetary crises were met with decisive leadership, whether orchestrating urgent deliveries of medicine or evacuating entire settlements from cataclysmic storms. Young people on far-flung colonies could share their experiences with friends on Earth in real time, bridging cultural divides. Scientific communities thrived, collaborating on complex studies with an immediacy that shattered former barriers of time lag. The galaxy felt smaller, more tightly knit, if also more fragile. New alliances, once unthinkable, sprang into being. The Jishan enclaves signed an unprecedented trade agreement with Earth, advocating peaceful exploration of uncharted territories, all thanks to the trust instant reach afforded them. Each time a new link was established, the intangible glow of universal possibility seemed to brighten. Inevitably, pockets of resentment stirred. Some powerful species saw the humans, who had only a few centuries earlier learned to harness fusion, now outpacing them with a technology that bent reality itself. There were murmurs of sabotage attempts to bring down Earth's communication grid, while extremist factions circulated apocalyptic claims that humans had enslaved the quantum realm. Soldiers in frontier outposts dealt with sporadic skirmishes, keeping watch over the quantum relay stations. Nevertheless, humanity's wave of influence rolled onward, buttressed by constant vigilance and the unwavering will of those who oversaw the instant reach system. Despite the danger, despite the cosmic mysteries percolating behind the scenes, the network continued to evolve. Over time, Dr. Royce developed new safety protocols for the entangled crystals, introducing a damping mechanism that mitigated the worst subspace rumblings. Working side by side with the Linari specialists, Miko wrote elaborate software failsafes that would sever the entangled pairs if local space-time distortions exceeded safe thresholds. As these measures took hold, the swirling anomalies lessened, though they never fully disappeared. As if guided by some watchful cosmic presence, the network stabilized in a tenuous equilibrium. The watchers who had once lurked in the corners of the station seemed to fade from immediate view. Yet Dr. Royce sensed that they waited, perhaps testing humankind's ability to handle forces beyond their normal scope. By the dawn of 2371, the humans had fortified their position through a web of alliances and treaties, not to mention a robust defense apparatus that leveraged the instantaneous lines of communication. Freed of the tyranny of distance, Earth directed the course of colonization and resource-sharing efforts with unbroken oversight. Disputes in the outer territories were resolved in hours, whereas once they might have taken years. This unprecedented unity across star systems inspired awe and envy alike. Improving conditions on many war-torn planets eased long-standing hostilities, as humanitarian missions could be launched rapidly. The galactic arm of isolationism began to collapse. In parallel, scientific discoveries bloomed. Astrobiologists, collaborating from half a dozen scattered star systems, uncovered new life forms and integrated data instantly. Theoretical physicists refined the very notion of how space-time functioned. Patterns in entangled transmissions led them to conceive of new cosmic constants, such as ephemeral lattice knots, shining a light on deeper realities. Meanwhile, on Earth, public sentiment soared with optimism, although cynics pointed out that progress was balanced on the edge of a double-edged sword. Should Earth ever lose control of the network, or should the subspace anomalies spike once more, the fragile tapestry uniting countless worlds could unravel. Still, comprehension of the broader cosmic tapestry evolved slowly. Dr. Royce, older now but still a luminary, found both joy and sorrow in how far humankind had come. In one sense, they were unstoppable. In another, they were teetering on the brink of powers that overshadowed their mortal grasp. Late at night, she often stood at the station window, gazing at the stars that now seemed so close. A cosmic hush fell upon her as she remembered the dire warnings, though the unstoppable surge of progress thrilled her. Perhaps this was the inherent nature of an intelligent species, to push forward until confronted with an obstacle so large that it changed them forever. A final defining gesture of commitment to the galaxy, Earth Council and allied species formed the Interstellar Accord on Communication Ethics. This groundbreaking initiative set guidelines, placing moral obligations on how the instant reach networks could be used, banning espionage or weaponized transmissions that could wreak havoc. Royce herself served as a chair on this accord, ensuring that these moral principles were woven into the very coding frameworks that governed the lattice. Experts from diverse planets joined the oversight. Though cynicism about universal enforcement lingered, the accord signaled to all corners of the galaxy that Earth was not a tyrant. It was, in fact, a steward of the most consequential leap in communication since the dawn of interstellar flight. Yet one final test appeared. From beyond the known star cluster, a wave of unknown signals cascaded in. The subspace echoes seemed to respond, flaring with intensity. In an unguarded instant, they lanced through the network, distorting transmissions in bizarre ways. For a few nerve-wracking minutes, the entire instant reach system flickered. Screens across colonies and starships displayed shimmering images of ghostly silhouettes, cryptic glyphs no one had ever seen. Panic erupted in major cities as transmissions from Earth stuttered and scrambled. Then, just as suddenly, the flicker was gone. The system stabilized. Scientists attributed it to a freak cosmic surge, but for Royce and certain Lenari watchers, the message was clear. Something out there noticed the lattice's cosmic presence, and it too possessed the means to reach across vast distances instantly. Yet the system had endured. A quiet pride emerged, seeded by the knowledge that humankind held together in those moments of crisis. As communications returned to normal, the vast distances of space receded once more, brought near by the unstoppable triumph of Dr. Royce's life's work. The ephemeral threat, whatever it had been, did not stop them. And so the human species and its allies continued onward, forging an uncertain path between curiosity and caution. There was no turning back from instant reach. With it, the future was theirs to shape, or at least attempt to, guided by the faint hope that they would prove worthy of a technology that defied the usual boundaries of reality. In the end, humankind had learned to speak across a galaxy in the blink of an eye. For better or worse, that power had helped unite disparate colonies, deter enemies, and propel new discoveries that would reverberate for centuries. Where once cosmic distances separated entire civilizations, leaving them fragmented and ignorant of each other's plight, the lattice had brought them together, forging improbable bonds. On that foundation, the next chapters of humanity's cosmic story would unfold, bringing new wonders and terrors in equal measure. But in that moment, with the flames of conflict seeming to dwindle and the promise of universal collaboration looming, the instant reach system stood as the unassailable achievement that gave humans the edge and kept them pushing ever onward, deep into the endless